It was over 16 years ago that I called a meeting to determine whether there was an interest in Ford's Conley to develop a model railroad club. On January 23rd, 2005, 23 people showed up, including Henry Glista. Now, normally model railroad clubs organize around a single interest group. For instance, O-gauge, N-gauge, HO. But we were going to put together a club that encompassed all of those gauges. And therein is the challenge. How do you structure activities in a club that would appeal to this disparate group? My first action item was to put together a steering committee. And Henry Glista was the first volunteer for that steering committee. It would help guide us over the first few years to develop the programs that would be of interest to the members. Henry continued through the years to help us design activities for the monthly meetings. Moreover, Henry was the guy who was always available to help people who were building their layouts, especially when it came to the electrical component of the layout. I was glad that Henry saw the club exceed 70 members before he passed. I and the club owe Henry a huge debt of gratitude. The layout you're going to see was built by Henry Glista. When he sold his house to Jim Norn, Jim made a promise that he would continue having the layout for the enjoyment of his family, the club, and the community. Enjoy the next video.
Hi, I'm Jim Noren. This is my model railroad HO layout. I call it Americana. But I didn't actually build this layout. It was built by a man named Henry Glista with assistance from his son Bob. This was done before I bought his house in 2014. When I went to buy the house, of course, it was kind of a unique feature to have a model railroad up over the garage. And in fact, I found out later that the realtor had recommended that he take this out in order to make the house more saleable, because 90% of your buyers aren't even going to be interested. But he did not want to, and he found the right buyer in the end, in myself and my wife. And when I bought the house, we had a gentleman's agreement that I would maintain the railroad and not rip it out, and I've done that. Unfortunately, Henry passed away this past year at age 93, but there's no reason that I won't continue to maintain the layout and to be a member of the Ford's County Model Railroad Club. So I hope you enjoy the layout. The train room is located in the Frog. That means finished room over the garage. The only room in the house that is not on the main level. Henry's wife Lottie was an artist. They would spend time together in this room. She would work on her art on the west wall, which now functions as my office, while Henry worked on his train set. She painted the mural on the north wall, which gives the feeling of the trains traveling in the western U.S. Combined with the mirror on the east wall, it makes the layout look even bigger than it is, which is saying something because it's pretty big. The layout grew organically without an initial grand plan. If there is an overall theme, it is Americana, a nostalgic look at our country, rural, small town, urban, suburban, and industrial over a period of years. Because the layout is so free-form, it gave Henry an opportunity to indulge in various flights of fancy in the layout. Let's start with a little model train enthusiast background information. This HO layout can, and usually does, run 5 trains continuously. Each train can be individually controlled using DCC, Digital Command Control, technology. The engineer can control not only the speed and the direction, forwards or backwards, of each train individually, but also the sound, including literally bells and whistles, which have a different sound for every locomotive. In addition to the 5 main lines, there are 25 switches which allow the trains to either switch from one main track to another or to put the train onto a siding. One special feature of the layout is a roundhouse turntable, which allows trains to go into and out of the engine repair shop. When people tell me, your grandkids must love that train layout, I have to confess that what really interests them is playing with the Hot Wheels toy cars on this inside car track. Like many layouts, as interesting as the actual railroad track, locomotives, and rolling stock is, what really makes the layout is the scenery. I don't have exact numbers, but I have to guess that 90% of Henry's time in constructing the layout was spent on scenery. I think the most visible feature as you enter the room is the mountain pass. One track bisects it and two tracks go around it. Although no trains run through it, the farm and farmhouse and the little farming community on the hill above the farm bring quite a bit of rustic charm to the layout. In the northeast corner of the layout, there is a double mountain tunnel with one train track going through each tunnel. Now let's travel down Main Street, USA, with apologies to Walt Disney. On one side is classic small-town America, with a building containing an ice cream parlor and an equipment store flanking the town's movie theater. Continuing to move down the street, we have City Hall, the American Express office, the firehouse, another ice cream parlor, Murray's restaurant, Gray's gift shop, a Gulf gas station, and a diner. The other side of Main Street is classic industrial America with a Mercedes dealer, with the cars spinning round and round in the showroom, a flour mill which makes gold medal flour, Robert's Printing Company, which also contains the Daily Planet newspaper office, reliable warehouse storage, and of course the Water Street Freight Terminal near the Roundhouse. Every one of the above features is wired so that when the lights are on and the room is dark, there is an incredible romantic ambiance. I counted 43 street lights in addition to all the lights in the buildings themselves. Now, let's look at the Roundhouse. First, note the welder inside the machine shop. Now look at the Roundhouse itself. It can turn in either direction and at variable speed. It can be used to move an engine from the main track onto a siding into the Roundhouse and then into the repair shop, or vice versa. It can also be used to move an engine from one repair bay to another. Unfortunately, there isn't time to adequately show you all this in this short video. Some other notable features of the layout are a 3-hole golf course, complete with tees, greens, and golfers, 4 passenger train stations, 12 railroad grade crossings, various kinds of trees in various colors, and finally, one of the kids' favorites, a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. Well, thank you so much for joining me in reviewing my Americana HO layout, and I hope you enjoy it online. And sometimes the best way to enjoy these things is just to watch the trains go around. So thank you for coming, and goodbye.